What's going on, everybody? This is the Blacc Room, and I got a special guest up in here today, Miss Keyairra Moore. How art thou?
How art thou? I am awesome. How are you?
Yo, I've known her. Damn, how long has it been? How long have we known each other?
All our lives.
Right. I don't remember my first time seeing you, though.
What you mean?
I don't remember my first time actually interacting or seeing you. I remember your mom growing up. I remember your grandpa. I don't remember you until probably 6th grade, maybe something like that.
And that will be maybe that would be right, because for a while I lived in Texas, so maybe that's why you don't recall me. I'm not really sure. But
I had the biggest crush on her too. I was like, damn, nigga. I remember the first time I seen. I remember the specific time where I saw you.
Help him, Lord. Help him.
Look, you had on the Jordan 13s. They was blue and black, the low tops.
Oh my gosh, you remember them?
Right. I saw you at Capitol Hall Park one day. I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, I want parts, baby. Who is that? No, I'm just playing. I ain't want parts. I was just like, damn. And then, you know, I remember you was the only girl that made me feel nervous.
And I want to know why. Why?
I don't know. You just always had this whole intimidating look on your face, and you was the only person that really could intimidate me like that.
But you didn't really know me. You didn't even give yourself an opportunity to know if I was intimidating or not.
I guess it was just the face. I don't know. You just be looking.
Was I mugging?
Yeah.
You know, people tell me that. Like, I need to work on that right now.
And you seem so much older than me at the time. I
am.
You older, but you ain't that much older. You know
I am.
Look, you hear her trying to throw shade.
I am.
That's cool.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I'm just playing. But truth be told, sometimes I be thinking we should have did this podcast together. Like, you were one of the people that came to mind when I was thinking about somebody to do it with. There was this other girl that I started off the idea with named Charlita, but she lives way in Alabama, or Florida. I don't know where she lives now. She keeps moving back and forth. But that's just too far away. And then I thought about you. I'm like, she way in Memphis. She ain't going to be coming up here.
See, that's the problem. So you was thinking. You didn't ask me.
Yeah, but you telling me you're going to take a drive up here every week to do this with me? I keep telling you what I just tell you. I got the gift of gab. Okay.
I got the gift of gab. Okay. So therefore we can make it happen. But I think everything falls in place. Whatever has transpired, I guess it was meant to be, right?
I ain't mad at you.
And I ain't mad at you. You did what you had to do. So we're here today. Okay.
It's all good. That was a long ass time though. Like, Cape has changed a lot. We both from the same town.
You know what? It's funny you're saying that, because I was just driving like, man, what happened? Like, what happened?
What do you mean? Like structure? Or just people?
I mean, just people. You know, you used to drive down the street and you would recognize people. And if you seen black people, you knew. If you didn't know them, you knew where they came from. Right. Now it's just like, who are you and where you came from? Like, who your people is? I don't know you. So it's really, really strange.
It's funny. Like, I say about 10 years ago, everybody started moving in from different places. But then, like, the people that was living here started moving out. And then the people that was living here this whole time, they just start staying in the house.
Yes, because you have strangers. It's like strangers in the land. We have, you know, clearly hyenas in the pride land. It's the truth. So
that's a way to put it.
That's how it is, you know. So I'm just looking at the structures as well, like homes that we used to consider nice. They're kind of ran down, and it's just like nobody really looks like. I'm not going to say nobody, because that's very, very definite and just kind of mean to say. But it seems like a lot of people don't take pride in their properties anymore. I remember a time that people took pride. Once you get a home, even if you were renting, you took pride in the surroundings, and there's no pride in the land anymore. Like, clearly Scar is running things.
Man, HUD start moving in. That's what happened. Niggas start buying property and HUD start moving in. And they just start fucking shit up.
That's what it is?
Yep. When niggas buy property, and this sound crazy, but niggas start buying property, and then they just start getting them HUD checks, and by the time the tenant moves out, The house is all fucked up. Now you got to spend all that money fixing it back up.
Wow, I didn't think of it that way.
That's why I'm not doing home ownership. Fuck that.
Okay, we got to stop there. Why?
I'm not renting homes. Let's put it like that. I'm not renting out homes.
Okay.
Unless I have like an apartment building or something.
And that's
like
the
that.
way it is. It's not. I don't think it's very wise to have a single family home and rent it out. Wisdom. I think you get duplexes and, like you said, apartment buildings because you have an opportunity to make more income. If somebody don't pay their rent, guess what? That doesn't stop. I think that's the smartest thing to do. Right. I agree with you totally. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with this house and the other place, and I'm just like, I don't even want that headache. Like, just the upkeep itself gets on my damn nerves.
But let's think about it like this. Let's think about it like this. With anything, there's going to be a headache and there's going to be upkeep. You just have to weigh out, the good and the bad. Absolutely. So, shout outs to homeowners.
It's kind of like a car on steroids. Car, you get the oil change and brakes, fix something here and there. But houses,
But houses appreciate. Cars depreciate as soon as you drive it off the lot. So, that's
cars houses can depreciate too.
But at the end of the day, you got the land.
Right.
And land is always good.
That's true. So. You right. Especially around here. Like, if you were in L.A. or somewhere like that, there's no land. Like, no matter what you buy on.
Right.
It ain't much land, period.
Right. Totally.
Back to what we were talking about. Being younger and all the other shit. With everything. I'm not doing shit. I don't want to touch on the wrong shit. But with everything going on in today and nobody being able to engage and have conversations, everything is on social media or over the phone. How do I say it? We had this conversation before about old school millennials. Technically, we're millennials, but
I don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way either. But that's because we understand what life is like without the internet.
Yeah, we do.
And even the internet that we grew up with wasn't the same as now because there was no social media.
Wow, it's funny you say that because I was looking at a letter that you wrote for me.
See.
But you had designed like this girl, and she had on this red outfit. I don't know what it was, but back then, I remember when you had to use AOL as your internet source. And,
right.
Like, oh my God, like
or the dial-up.
Yeah. You've got mail kind of situation.
I still remember the sound when it's connected. Like,
so we had the privilege of seeing both worlds, and I guess seeing things kind of transpire. So we know, like you said, life without and life with it. And I really don't consider myself as a millennial. I really don't.
I know. We need a different name. We called it old school millennials. We just old school. Like, fuck out of here with that dumbass shit y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all rappers suck. Everything about y'all little niggas suck.
We're not going to say that it suck.
Hey, tell me what's good about this generation. One thing.
It's a new generation. Mm-hmm. We ain't died out. We're evolving into some things that we may not understand.
Everything that's new that's going on now, our generation created. The 30 and up, the 28 and up created it.
I'll give you that. I agree.
They didn't create shit, but a couple of little weird ass dances. They didn't create anything.
One thing I will say, and I'm not really sure if they created it, but they've taken what's been given to them for our social media and things of that nature, and they've taught us how to make it happen on there. These young kids a lot of them, they've taken and made businesses. I see more young entrepreneurs, and I'm not saying that they weren't out there, but we're more privy to that information now. So I can say they have a new idea. They don't necessarily feel like they got to go to school to do certain things. They out here getting it. Some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are out here getting it, and they letting us know that clearly it's other ways to do things. And I can honestly say I think the schools are introducing them to that world a little earlier than what we had, probably because it was still being developed or being put out there for us, because it was always out there. We just didn't know about it.
Okay, so what you're saying is they figure out ways to get money. But is money as valuable as it is made out to be? Like, for example, if like I saw this video where this dude was in a wedding dress rapping, and he was on his knees sucking on a fucking shotgun. Now, got him a lot of attention, got him a check, got him some money, but what's that worth at the end of the day? If you're perpetuating some bullshit and you got people, you bringing down the culture at the same time.
I guess for him it was worth the check that he got, but he's not looking. I guess. I mean, it wasn't nothing to say. I'm gonna say this with us. I think a lot of young people, they're not very cognizant of the things that they may put out. They're not hustling, or they're not striving, thinking about the 30-year-old them or the 25-year-old them, and not realizing whoever they are now is going to be the person that sets things up for that older them. People are living for the now. And I guess that could be admired, and it also could be looked at as like, that's not good. I think us growing up, we were always cognizant of one day I'm going to get older and I'm making these moves because I'm trying to get to this place. Right now, they just living for now. Yeah, so whoever you seen do that, I'm certain that he was not thinking one day it's going to be a 35-year-old me, and he's going to look back and say that, he shouldn't have done that. But
it's crazy. Much is given, much is required. I just think they don't. Either they just dumb as fuck, or they just don't care.
What Cube say?
What?
Boys in
either
the hood.
They don't know, they don't show, and don't care how it's going. But that's like the end result of what he was saying. Because if you think about it, if your whole idea of, or if you have generation after generation after generation raising these materialistic kids that are taught that you do anything for $1. Further down the line, they're gonna start doing more and more clown shit for $1.
And well, let me ask you this. I mean, let's be honest. That's how a lot of people are raised. Like, what do your parents tell you? You go to school so you can get you a good job, so you can make you some good money. That's what it's always been about. That's always what the push was, to make money, not necessarily make character. So, I mean, we getting what we put in.
Remember the battle rapper we listened to, Loaded Lux? He said, would you, and what'd he say? Would you kill the world to save yourself? I ain't think that was wise. And that's just basically what it is. Because take somebody like, I don't know, Tekashi 6ix9ine. All that shit that he putting out there, and all those images, and the way that he's shifting the culture with all this clown shit that he's doing, he's affecting a whole bunch of lives.
Most definitely.
But people our age don't understand it because we didn't register shit like that. Like, I can go listen to, I don't know, C Murder talk about killing 48 people in the album. Right. That don't mean I'm going outside just murdering motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But these motherfuckers these days, they like, Gucci say he got them bricks. That mean he got them, nigga. It's easy, you know what I'm saying, to move around out here, and you ain't got to worry about shit. Police ain't gonna never catch you up. You could talk crazy all over the internet and ain't nothing ever gonna happen. I can show all these guns and 50 racks and do whatever the fuck I want to do, and nothing gonna happen. These niggas is crazy, man.
Well, I'm not gonna say they're crazy. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say they're just not aware, and it's not. And I'm just like this. There's an old saying that ignorance of the law is not a defense.
True.
At the end of the day, they're telling you they're doing all this stuff, but where's the proof? I mean, these days you can say anything, and you don't have to have the proof anymore. Back when we was growing up, we from the show me stage. Niggas say they doing this and this and that. You got to show me.
Right.
This generation, just because you said it, that makes it law.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, it's back to what I've said before about male and female these days. It's like a figure eight. It's like the dudes is actually doing it. They out here fucking off and telling on themselves. The dudes that's not doing it, the dudes is actually doing it, chasing the dudes that's not doing it, to be able to say, rah, rah, I'm doing this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, What are you accomplishing? They both chasing each other's tail to get nowhere. And I just sit back and watch sometimes. I'm like, so you telling me none of this shit is about skill? None of this shit is about creating good music?
No.
None of it.
No.
Like, okay, if you was to take, okay, I always use the analogy of an NBA player. I feel like I'm a dude that can dunk, run, dribble, run an offense, pass, do all this other shit, shoot, but I ain't got that look yet. But there's some of these dudes that's in the game, they can't dribble, they can't shoot, they can't rebound, none of that, but they in the NBA. You be like, what? That's what hip hop is now. You don't have to be good. You don't have to make one good song. You just got to get on some clown shit.
That's it. They're pushing. Well, I mean, since we're there, I'm not gonna stick my foot in the water. We just gonna go on and jump in. You gotta realize we just gonna go on and jump in. Like seriously, you have to think. They're not pushing a society to think. They're not pushing a society to have a vision. They're not pushing a society to do anything but follow. Everything you look at is telling you to be the next person, and they're not teaching you how to be the original you. They're not teaching you how to embrace who you are and just go in and learn some different things. They're not teaching you how to figure out what's your gift and craft it and just make it your own. Everything is telling you to be everybody but yourself. So, of course, if I can they're looking for numbers. I mean, they're, those saying it's power in numbers. They're looking for a whole bunch of followers, and that's what we have. We don't have many leaders, and those that our leaders are sitting back thinking like, man, what's really going on? Trying to figure out how do we, make a change in this situation. And to be honest with you, only change you can make is the change within yourself. And let the rest follow. But it's a lot of people out here hustling, moving, doing things, and they don't do it with a vision or for a reason. They're doing it like they're going to live forever. And I mean, it doesn't make sense to me because at the end of the day, you're not hustling for you. You're not doing this for you. It's somebody that's coming behind you. And how about the person that's coming behind you? It's the new you. How about that? I'm not talking about your children. I'm talking about the new you. There's going to be a 35-year-old you. So what you hustling for? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to get old? Like you out here doing all this for some Jordans. For what? Right.
It's all a bunch of frivolous shit, man. I was talking about that the other day with money I used to blow on bullshit. Like, I sat back and was like, man, just imagine if I invested all that money into something for real.
You didn't know.
Like just $300, $400 shoes, True Religion jeans, bullshit, like all type of, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? It made no sense whatsoever.
But I'm going to say this. You were a child, like you were young. Right. Now you know better. So hopefully you will rear your son and let him know. Like, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people still going, and I don't have anything against it. You do what you do. We all go through our stages of life. But I told my mom one day, I was like, just imagine had you invested or saved the money that you bought Christmas stuff for me. Like, I don't even know where that stuff is. Right. You begging for shoes and clothes. Like, I got jewelry and games and bikes and where's that stuff at? Right. Like, seriously. But nobody trained us to think that way. But now that we're cognizant of it, hopefully we'll set it up for our children. And you're more apt to, tell them, no, that's not the way to go. Give them a vision. No. But a lot of people just out here living without a vision. Without a vision, the people perish. And that's what we got, a whole bunch of people perishing.
That's true. Back to the social media thing. I think the biggest problem with social media is that people, put it like this. This might sound fucked up, but everybody shouldn't have a voice. I think everybody shouldn't have a fucking voice. If there's too many people in here talking in the room, we can't get a podcast done. Some people should listen. Some people shouldn't even be allowed to have social media, to me. All these bullshit ass comments. That's why you see people just swaying and moving with the crowd and shit, because this person telling this person something. It's almost like that old experiment that they did. I'm gonna tell you something in your ear. Oh yeah. You pass it around and we're gonna see if it changes. Yeah. It's the same shit. Yeah. I was watching this magician show the other day, and dude had he said he basically wanted this group of kids to to color in whatever color of this picture of this man or whatever. First thing the little girl says before the magician can get done, can we have equal rights and have a female up there too? I'm like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up, all right? What does that have to do with why you're here?
Well, let's go back some. I'm not going to say everybody shouldn't have a voice. I think there's turns to having voices and there's lanes to having voices. I think we have to know who our target audience is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Some people, you might be on social media giving all this knowledge, and nobody's really receiving it. But had you been out in the streets on this corner giving this knowledge, that might have been your platform. I'm going to say you have to know where you're supposed to be speaking to. That's if that makes sense. You have to know what your voice was what it was made for, what lane it was created for. I'm going to say that. Then you have some people that it's not your turn to speak. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine had Martin Luther King came before his time. Like, clearly, they'd have been like, boy, sit down. What are you doing? You're going to get us all killed. But his voice came at the right time. And some of us are releasing our opinions and doing all this stuff, and we're not in our season and we're not in our time. So, of course, it's going to seem like, shut up, you talking, you doing the wrong thing. But you have to know there's a time and there's a place for everything, including your opinion. So I just think that's the issue. We have a whole bunch of people, and it's not your turn yet. I
agree. My problem with it is with social media, everybody's just talking at once. You said there's a time and a place. It's never a time for everybody to talk at once.
Exactly.
And it's like,
I don't know about that.
Like, like what you said about Martin Luther King. If he talked today, or if he talked 40 years ago, it still would resonate.
Yeah.
Just because of the conditions that we are in.
Right.
Now, if you just put some bumbling idiot up there, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and have him try to speak to the masses, it's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man.
Right.
Like we at some point we're gonna have to just start being real with motherfuckers. Like, everybody can't speak, dog. There are real idiots out here. There are real stupid ass people out here in this world, man. And I just be like, nah. There's certain times where I'm just like, well, maybe you're just misinformed. Maybe you're just ignorant. No, this person is really stupid.
But they think they know so much. But I'm gonna say this: everyone can speak, but should everyone speak? There's the difference.
No.
Should I could go and I could do this and I can do that, but should I do it? That's knowing your lane and knowing what you're supposed to do.
True.
Just because you can don't mean you should. You can get out here and decide tomorrow that you want to be a singer. You can get in here and you can make your auto-tune. But should that be your lane?
Hell no. And to me, that shit destroys everything because it oversaturates everything. It's like if tomorrow everybody wanted to be an actor. That would be immediate chaos.
But that's the issue. That's the whole problem. We have a generation, we have so many people that are lacking identity because they're pushing you to be like everybody else so you can get a quarter or get a dime. What if what you've been sent here to do and what your gift is not really hot right now? I remember when you were young and you ran around with your camera. And back then, we might have thought, what Cobra doing with this camera? But you were slowly walking into the vision that was for your life. We might not have understood, and you've been persistent with it. You've grown and you've evolved into other things. But just imagine had you just decided, you know what? I don't think this hot. Like, I mean, I remember you was the first young person I seen to have a digital camera. Like, let's be real. But just imagine had you decided, you know, because this ain't hot and the masses are going to college and you put that down and you went to go pursue a degree in criminal justice or something like that.
Right.
The arts, so much stuff is being lost because we're pushing all this different stuff on everybody, and that's not everybody's lane.
You know what's funny about that? This might not be my calling, but at the same time,
why wouldn't it be?
I can look back at myself at 4 or 5 years old on home videos, and I love being in front of the camera.
Why would you say it wouldn't? What if it wasn't? Why would you?
Because like I'm still young. I could still have another calling.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's not, you can have it. I'm going to say this. I think you have a purpose.
I have a creative nature. That's my problem. I have to
create. That's not a problem.
If it can be. It's like if you, back to Michael Jordan, his problem was that he was super competitive, but it made him who he is.
Okay.
My problem is I can't do something if I'm not creating. If I get bored creating, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not creative. I'm not like, I'm addicted to that feeling of creating something and you look at it be like, damn, that's hard.
But can I tell you something?
What's up?
All of us are creators.
That's true to a certain extent. Yeah.
Everybody. They're creating.
Some people, they just want to go to work, go home, and do what they're told. They're like sheep. Some people just like that.
Yeah, I'm saying we all are creators at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You create your reality, and people, they've created the reality to do the 9 to 5. That's what you create to do.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If people walk through life knowing that I really am a creator, like seriously, I think they would approach things differently. But I'm going to say, I think you're in your calling, in your purpose, because you have multiple streams and you've evolved in what you're doing. It hasn't stayed stagnant. When it stays stagnant, that's when you start saying, well, maybe this ain't for me because ain't nothing moving. It may not jump off the way you want it to jump off, but you can honestly see the growth from when you started from the digital camera. You've evolved. Your knowledge has evolved, like the things you've done.
I brought that up to somebody recently. It was actually on the podcast, and I was talking about like I didn't even see that whole path or whatever. It was like I didn't see how it started until Lavelle brought it up to me, and he was like, "Man, I know why you fuck with these cameras like this." I'm like, "Why? What you talking about?" He was like, "I was at the Christmas when your mama bought you a digital camera.
Wow.
Like ever since then, you've been stuck on this camera shit." I said, "You know what it was? I just thought cameras were magic. Like you can seriously catch life on this thing, and nobody ever looked at it like that. Right. Like if you were to put a camera 200 years ago and put it in the hands of those people, they'd be like, oh no, this is witchcraft.
Right.
This ain't real. Like how the fuck did you just get me moving around and doing all this shit? Especially these days, they're on a fucking phone.
Right.
The ones that are on our phone is way better than the digital cameras I used to walk around with. Like $300-400. Like the ones on the phone are amazing now. I just shot a music video off my phone like last week.
See, that's what I'm saying. You know stuff. See, you've evolved. That's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say I know for certain that I
agree
in your calling.
I agree because honestly, if I did this podcast when I was 20 years old, it probably wouldn't be shit.
But you know what? You wouldn't have nothing to talk about.
Nah, I wouldn't. Not at all.
You've evolved.
We wouldn't be able to have this conversation.
No, of course not. I don't think we'd be sitting here.
I was watching another documentary, another podcast on this guy named Jordan. I think Jordan Peterson, something like that. But he's like super intelligent philosopher. And the way this dude mind works, I just be like, man,
really.
Like I love listening to him talk because he's like next level with it. Like he gets to talking about the Bible and truth and the importance of the truth in the Bible, and truth is not fact. All these different things is dope. It's really, really dope.
You got to send me his information.
I forgot his last name. Start with a P, but he was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. Anyway,
anywho.
How did we get into talking about this?
Well, we were talking about this generation. I mean, you for a prime example. I feel like, and I'm gonna say this and end it off with saying this. You've helped a lot of people. I'm glad you didn't give up. I know it was many times I talked on the phone with you. Man. I ain't finna do this no more.
Right, especially with the music shit.
Oh, we're not gonna go there.
Music is a motherfucker, man. It's like let's say you would. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or none of that, but I've actually been in the studio with industry professionals that work with some of the greatest ever, including Biggie. And he told me out of his own mouth, like, you already finished that song? Both 2 verses per song? You already ready? Oh, yeah. You ready for the industry. Like, I never known anybody to write as fast as you. He told me that out of his own mouth. This same dude got 2 Chainz in there. He done had Drake in there, Wayne, Anthony Hamilton. He done worked with Mariah Carey, and he told me that. So I'm like, when I see certain things go on with people, I'm just like, man, I can do this, I can do that. But if I say it, then that's somehow wrong these days.
Why?
Because it's wrong to be confident now.
I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's not
people,
popular.
To certain people, it's wrong to be confident in if you have an opinion, it's called hating.
Yeah. And you know what? I told my mom that. I told her that. I said, what you would consider just having an opinion, other people would view as hating. Right. People don't want truth no more. Lie to me. No. Make it sound lie to me. Whatever you do, make it sound good. It got to be the truth. So that people don't want the truth. Right. I mean, that's when you know you really got people for you. But then some people, you tell them the truth and they don't want to hear that. I mean, they don't want to hear that.
Who really don't want to hear the truth? Women.
And why you say that? Don't you go there. Oh, here we go. Why?
I'm not even going to get into that.
No, you didn't put we here. Go ahead. Why? Why are you saying
because,
this?
like, you can't tell a woman shit. Like, only... Put it like this. Nobody's lied to more than little girls.
I'll give you that.
Little girls are lied to all the time. They're taught to believe in the fairy tale because that's like the nucleus of making a woman.
That's true.
Because a woman has to be, to a certain extent, a little bit naive to be a good woman. Because if she knows everything, you might as well put it like you dating a fucking dude, man.
Why do you say that?
Look at your face.
Look, why do you say that?
Yo, I got deja vu.
I don't know.
I remember seeing this before.
It was in your dreams. Now listen.
You was wearing that shirt too.
Was I?
That's crazy.
That is. Because I don't even know.
Anyway.
But no, but I agree.
Because it's like, okay, in order for a woman to be a good woman, she has to believe in the fairy tale. She has to actually believe that her dude is going to be all these things that she was told as a kid, even though that's probably unnatural for him.
Unnatural or
unnatural.
Unnatural.
And I can dive into that in so many different ways.
I'm not gonna let you dive into that. We're gonna park our car right here. But I'm gonna say I will agree that I'm gonna say this. My mother, she told me, I mean, the chase is better than the kill. The certain things she did not sugarcoat for me.
Your mom is different though.
Yes.
Your mom is very, very rare though.
She kept it real with me in certain instances with that. She just told me the chase is better than the kill. And, I mean, a nigga talk you out of your drawers and all. I was always reared that way. And I remember being at
that don't
church.
count, man.
I'm going to say this. I had good women in my life. I mean, I was around.
I can't talk to you. That don't count.
I'm going to tell you my story. So, I was raised around my mother's mother and her mother and her mother. I had that great kind of input into my life. Like when growing up, people would come to our house. We lived out, as we call it, in the country. And I'd be out there with old women watching church. I knew everybody on church just how, I mean, my favorite shows back then was Matlock, The Golden Girls, In the Heat of the Night. I was raised like that, but my mother always told me certain things. And then I grew up and my uncle was my pastor, and big ups to Pastor Apostle Joanne. I'll never forget her, and that's Shardae's mother. We were I remember they had like a crafting thing at the church, and I will never forget this story, and this kept me. She broke it down to me like this. She broke it down to all of us like this. She said that in life, like, men look at women like a Christmas tree, and you got this gift under there, and you just imagine it's a big box, and you looking at it every day like, man, I can't wait to go downstairs and open that gift up to see what's inside this box. And finally Christmas comes, and you run downstairs and you get to the tree and you open this box that's so pretty, and you open up and find out your parents done put some socks in there. What you gonna do? And we was looking like, go to the next gift. And she said, that's the same thing the man to do. If he open you up, hold up. And he finds out you're not what he wants, he will throw you to the side. I'm saying what they were saying to me, it may not have been correct, but they were letting us know at the time. Men, that's how it can be. So it kept me. So, okay, I go through all of that. At the end of the day, I'm going to say that had I known, I knew I was cognizant of it, but I still had to experience that. You know what I'm saying? So as women, if we can be cognizant of it, but until we experience it, it's not real for us. Right. You know what I'm saying? Despite of what my mother said, despite of what this person said, I still had some things I had to experience. So women, we're more of, going through some things kind of then say, oh, that's real. So, I mean, you could have, they could have sold us fairy tales or told us the truth, but we still going to have to go through it. Right. I still love him.
So when you talking about that, are you talking about sex or are you talking about just the relationship itself? Because
nobody can really, I don't think anybody can really prepare you for what you're going to go through in relationships.
No. What I mean by that is like, if a man is chasing a woman,
that's what he's supposed to do.
Naturally, his chase is to not just get the draws, but to find out everything he wants to know about her. That's half the battle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
Like a lot of times when I was in relationships and I'm talking to other women, it wasn't even about sex. It was just about getting to know somebody different.
You're different.
A lot of dudes do that though.
How many?
But I'm saying it's not just the sex that it's about. You get to know the person.
It's not necessarily about
different. It's about the variety. Now,
for you.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh my man.
No.
Look, what you mean? Just the variety of what conversation or just
like
being intellectual?
Just somebody different. Period.
Why?
I'm gonna explain that. But are you talking about that, or are you talking about sex when you had the Christmas tree analogy?
They were speaking
because that's true. I'm saying that's true. Yeah. Like a lot of times, it's not about sex when it's just like, oh, this sex is whack. I'm finna move on. Nah. A lot of it is figuring out what this person is like. Because as soon as I see something, I'm like, oh, she's a fucking dummy.
Oh, Lord.
Then I'm just like, nah, that sucks. I don't want that shit.
Right.
You dumb.
Definitely. And you're supposed to do that. Like there's an old saying that you date to get data. That's what you date people for.
True.
But at the end of the day, as a man, that's your nature to hunt.
Right. True.
And my nature is supposed to let you chase me.
Right.
But these days, girls ain't letting you chase them. It's the roles that switched.
Man, they laying down in the road.
Catch me. Like, don't catch me. I'm here. I'm waiting. And I think the whole game has changed. It's your job as a man to chase. That's your job.
That's true.
And mine is to run. That's my job. And if you catch me, that means I was supposed to be caught. I'm not going to make it easy for you, though.
I agree. Now, what I was saying earlier about it being so different is like, okay, you take, how do I say this? You take a woman, all right, in a 1 year span, how many kids can she have?
Well, we know that. Just
okay,
one.
But look, just one most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Even if she has, the Octomom kids, that's 8 in 1 year.
Yeah. I didn't
Still.
Think
A dude can impregnate a woman every day if he wanted to, if he tried hard enough.
But why would he want to?
But I'm just saying, these are possibilities. We talking about biology. We talking about nature. Now look, how long can a woman have a baby in her 60s on average? No. But a man can impregnate a woman in his 60s.
He can.
So
have old looking babies. He sure
so
can.
So the natural order of a man says, I can do all of this shit. And on top of that, I'm filled with testosterone, which tells me to go out and conquer. Okay. With everything. That's why, like, you can even take little baby boys and they're naturally more aggressive. They're naturally more adventurous.
You know why?
They naturally do things like steal, bite, try to figure out what your emotions are.
You know why?
Why?
Because they've been reared and trained to do that way.
No. This is nature. We talking about 2-year-olds.
I don't know. I would have to see a study in that regards. I would have to see a young, 2-year-old.
I'll tell you about another study. Real shit. They took 25 female babies and 25 male babies. Mm-hmm. Put them in a room. Just studied their whole way that they deal with shit. Just like a sheepdog will herd kids and herd little things. The boy was collecting shit like the boy was collecting all the toys and shit.
Yeah, because men are taught to play games. That's what y'all are reared to do.
Men are taught to want more. Like we naturally are more throughout history. Y'all
competitive. That's just it.
That's true too. But throughout history, we've been way more. What's the word? I can't think of the damn word right now. I don't even know.
I'm trying to be taught right now because you was learning.
Throughout history, we've been way more ambitious.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
That's true. Like everything. That's why they call it a man's world now. Not just because we're stronger than y'all. Y'all live longer than us. It naturally, there's a balance. But it's because we're just more adventurous. Like we attack shit more. That's why there's more male inventors than female. That's why there's more discoveries made by men than women.
You know why? Because you have the time to discover.
That's true. You got more time. Y'all got more time with the kids. That's true.
And that's just the order of life. I mean, I don't go. I'm not going, or I'm not gonna, knock the order of life. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, it's the man, and people are not gonna agree with this, but it is what it is. I want a man to be a man. I'm not trying to be. But a lot of women feel like they're out here and they're doing what they have to do and they're playing both roles. I don't want to play both roles. I can never be you. I can never do what you was designed to do at all.
I say it all the time.
I don't knock the order.
Right. I say it all the time. If the man is the brain, the woman's the heart. You can't really live without both.
Yeah.
You can still be alive technically with the heart, but without the brain. I mean, with the brain, but without the heart, you ain't shit.
That's true.
Without the heart, you up out of here. Well, there's people that's brain dead that live forever. You know what I'm talking about? But it's funny the way that works though. That whole dichotomy.
I will. But that's the issue. It's a unity. I mean, it's a dichotomy trying to become that unit. And anytime two trying to become one, is always
the yin and the yang.
Yeah, I guess. But that's
male and the female. That's why homosexuality is some crazy shit. You don't want to touch on that?
Well, you done went there. You have gone there.
I just think like there's so many different reasons why homosexuality makes no sense to me. Now, I've said it before. You want to be gay, do your thing. But the day that you start putting this shit in cartoons, on TV, all this shit, and then forcing me to eat it up, no, I'm sorry. You're not going to sit a bowl of shit in front of me and tell me it's pudding. You're not going to piss on me and tell me it's rain. I'm sorry. I'm never going to agree that this piss that's filling my hair and my face right now is rain. I'm not going to agree with that.
But you know what? In a minute, it's going to be rain.
But see, that's the problem. People need to start establishing the difference between fact and opinion.
But everything is not left up to an opinion. That's the question. A lot of stuff we've never called into question. Is black really black? How do I know that's really black? Or did everybody come together and say because they said it's black, it's black?
It's black. It's black. It's negro. It's a lot of different colors.
But it's not. I'm gonna say this because the majority is saying, let them keep saying it. We're gonna look up and tell you our children. It's so scary.
But that's
they gonna think it's normal.
That's one thing they'll never be able to change. Like, no matter what you do, you can't freeze fire.
Yeah, that's true.
No matter what you do, there's nothing you can do. Now, no matter what you do, a dude fucking a dude ain't gonna have life.
And that's the goal, though. You know that.
It doesn't matter what they do.
That's the goal.
It's like that's almost as ridiculous as saying I can throw a rope around the sun and bring it here. That's how ridiculous it sounds. But nobody will say that because they don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You know they actually dressing this shit up as gay being the new black. Like I ain't even gonna get into that shit. But
did you have a choice?
Right.
I don't think I chose.
And I don't even like saying that because it make it sound like black is something that's, knocked down or whatever. But you're right. We don't have a choice of what color we are.
Right. Black is considered to be knocked down. Let's not.
Right. They say shit like they basically saying that biology don't exist. What did you go to school for?
I went to school for business economics. I studied the economy. Yeah.
Okay. What if somebody came to you and said everything that you learned is not true, it's bullshit, and you wasted your time?
What if? Because you really want to know how I feel? I mean, like, I believe that's true. I understand you right. I'm being honest with you.
Right.
But that's what I'm telling. That was my point. A lot of stuff that we've been taught, people, hands down, let's say this. You know the truth by the way it feels. And if it don't feel right, 9 out of 10, it's not right. I don't care what they say, how they dissect it for you, how they put it to you. You know the truth by the way it feels. So at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of people, I think they've conspired to, to say a lot of stuff is true that is not true.
Right.
They fed us a whole bunch of things about our history that we know that's simply not true. They act like we're special. We're not smart as they are. We're lazy. We're this, we're that. And we know as a whole, as a people, that's not true. But guess what? They've said it long enough. Even some of our people believe that about themselves. So they have not tried to evolve and become better. So
that's
at
true.
The end of the day, I think a lot of things are believed to be true because multiple people say it.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Again, I just had that conversation. Like, what is proper English?
I don't know.
Proper English, to me, is the way that people speak it in England.
Right. That's correct.
So the way that people expect us to talk, that's not proper English. That's correct. The way white people talk.
What?
Like what I just said, I said it eloquently.
Right.
I said every word, but I sound black.
Right.
So, but I can switch it up and sound like a white dude whenever I want to.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, who's to say what's right and what's wrong? Now, when you're talking about biology, it's a simple fact. It's like, if I know for a fact, if I stab myself with this pen hard enough, I'm going to bleed.
You are.
I'm going to bleed. There's nothing that I can do about stopping that. If I just feel like in my mind, I just don't want to bleed. Like, come on. It's bullshit.
Well, that's another episode. But I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, it's like the old saying, the majority rules. That's it. And I'm going to say this.
Craziness.
The majority rules, and whatever the majority say it is, that's the way it's being perceived.
Until it don't.
That's true, too.
Until nature balances everything out.
That's true.
Like Solomon and Gomorrah.
See, why'd you have to go and bring that up? Oh, my lamb. But at the end of the day, I think it's what... If you got enough people to come together and say, this is the way, I'm going to give it to you like this. The Jim Crow laws. We know that was not correct.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another story too, but that wasn't right. But enough people came together with the power of agreement, because there's power in agreement. And if you have anything that you agree upon, it's going to be. And that's
power in numbers, period.
And agreement is power. And just think of if we all come together and we agree to do, like we're agreeing to do this podcast right now. Mm-hmm. It's power in that.
Right.
You know, I'm a church girl, and I've learned in the Bible where it says, where you have 2 or more gathered in his name, he's in the midst, things of that nature. But when you have enough people together on one accord, it says when you have more than one person's together, if you will, agreeing upon one thing, clearly, it's power in that. At the end of the day, it's power in it.
I agree.
So I agree that it may not be right, but if we have enough people keep saying it's right, in a minute, society gonna say it's right. And if we don't teach our children better, they're gonna believe it's right too.
But then that goes back to what I've been saying. Like, at what point do we realize that Pandora's box is open? Like, we start off with this.
When do you learn that it was never closed?
It's definitely open up. Look, we start off with this. I think it started with this homosexuality shit. Never mind the fact that, all of these, I don't even want to say the statistics, but it used to be considered a gay disease, AIDS. Yeah. Never mind the fact that, it's one of the leading ways of transferring hepatitis. Never mind all that. Never mind the anal injuries and all of this shit that happens with it that I heard on a Howard Stern show one time. It was disgusting anyway. Forget all of that. If you boil down to the absolute core of a female and a male, we cannot live without each other.
That's true.
No matter what you do, we cannot live without each other. There will be no future generations. The movie Lucy, have you ever seen that?
No.
It's about this lady. They say we only use like 10% of our brain, something like that. And basically, she takes this drug that makes her able to use 100% of her brain. So she's doing all this crazy, incredible shit. So it's basically saying, human beings are limitless. Saying everything that we got with this 10% didn't come just because we're smarter than everything else. It came because we figured out a way to pass down information through generations.
Oh, wow.
So the day that we stop worrying about generations being able to continue is a problem. Like, take, for example, it fucks me up how this shit is okay, but porn is not. That's real sex right there. But two men kissing on TV is okay. Now look, on the flip side, at what point do pedophiles start wanting their rights? At what point do incest relationships start? You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So if your whole moniker is about love and you have the right to love whoever you want to love, the only thing that separates us from animals is that we have structure.
Well, that's true. But I'm going to say this to you. Even with animals, you look at dogs and things of that nature. You put dogs together in the pen. What do? Have you ever seen it?
What you mean? They do a lot of shit. What are you talking about?
They will start humping each other. Yeah. Like male dogs. But why do they do it?
They do it because they don't know no better.
They do it to prove who is the king of the pen.
Sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes they do that.
So a lot of people, I think, I'm going to say this. They do have the right to love who they want to love. I can't tell you who to love. I can't tell you that.
With that, I agree to a certain extent because I had a female that used to hump my male. But at the same time, I think I could tell when my dog was starting to get horny around another dog. And then certain dogs, he wouldn't. Now, I had certain dogs that would never, ever hump a boy dog. That's just how they are. Yeah. And then I had certain dogs that were just dumbasses.
Yeah.
They just didn't know no better. Now, you take human beings, we fucking know better.
Do we?
Hell yeah, we know better. You know why? Because most of these motherfuckers, they just decide to do this shit when they're not loved anymore. Or they feel like they can't cut it as whatever they were designed to be. Like, for example, I know this one dude, and he ain't got no top teeth.
I'm not dealing with
you. You know what I'm saying?
What they got to
he
do
a
with
fat out of shape nigga, you know what I'm saying?
What they got to do?
He a weirdo, you know what I'm saying? He don't really fit in. For the longest, he was lying about having female girlfriends and shit like that. I wasn't surprised when dude turned out to be gay because he's just weak-minded like that.
So do you think he was always gay and just was afraid to say? Or do you think he just turned gay?
No, trust me.
You think people just turn gay?
To this day, I guarantee you put the right female in front of him to give him some type of attention, he gonna come up out of that gay shit. He's that desperate. He'd do anything to feel like somebody love him and shit.
But it goes back to what we've been discussing this whole while.
It's a mental illness.
We have a lot of people that don't know who they are. You don't know who you are. You get your identity from your father. We have a whole lot of fatherless children that don't know who they are. Despite the people, I mean, everybody
motherless
goes
too.
Yeah,
motherless. Even if she's there, she can be. You can have a motherless home.
Clearly, I mean, just because somebody's there doesn't mean they're there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because you're present don't mean you're present.
And sometimes being present makes a worse kid. Like I said before, I know this one chick, man. Her mama, you can tell why she's like that. Her mama fucked up, man. I used to ask her questions like, why do you think this way? Why are you that way? Why you always in a dude face? Why do you got self-esteem issues? Why can't we just go out to the amusement park without you having to do this, that, and the other? I met her mama. I'm like, oh, I see why.
It was a learned behavior.
She fucked up.
But do you think they messed up?
Hell no. If they did, they would change it.
Would they?
Absolutely.
I think some people,
if they knew they looked that bad out here, looking that stupid, they'll change it. Because like, okay, you take a promiscuous female, for example. She didn't just start just doing that out the blue.
No.
Something had the trigger to make her that way.
Right.
Like, whether it's bad parenting or it's being raped or any type of shit like that. Because that's just not in a woman's nature to do that.
That's true.
That's the way I see it.
I agree with you. I totally agree. I just think a lot of times people, they don't know. This has been my motto for this year. Even within myself, I didn't realize a lot of times you don't know something is broken until you try to go and use it. Like, you may not know your charger is broken until you do what? Go to use it.
Right.
Unless it's something that's physically out of proportion that says that's broken. But a lot of times people don't know they're broken until they go through life and they realize, oh, that's not the way that's supposed to work.
That's real.
So we have a lot of people, and maybe you came into that person's life to help her realize, baby, you broke it.
Absolutely. And that's why I left her with it. Like, every dude she ever ran into, basically she lived somewhere where women that look like her are not lauded after. Like, people don't just go crazy over women that look like her. But if she lived in the South, they'd be like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that mentality had her having self-esteem issues and being in an area that was like pretty much predominantly dudes. She was taught, act like they do. Just keep fucking these niggas and keep it moving or whatever.
Right.
But eventually, once her womanhood kicked in and she started having feelings, all these dudes just want to fuck.
Right.
Now she hurt. Now she bitter. Now she like her fucking mama.
Right.
50 years old and ain't got nothing going for herself with a new nigga in her bed every month.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's bad, man. And there's a lot of times I'll sit back and be like, why are you like this? I just don't understand.
But if we have more people to question why they are the way that they are, I don't know. I think we will be so much further. I mean, first and foremost, we have to be honest with ourselves. And it may not be easy. You know what I'm saying? You got to face some stuff. You know what I'm saying? What you just brought up, I'm going to say this. I've noticed, like, a lot of times you can go through life and life beats you up. Like, it beats you down. And after you get done getting beat up and you get in the mirror and you start looking at yourself and you start dissecting what you've gone through, what you see before you, man, it's not easy to clean up. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to heal those scars and those bruises. But the long run, I mean, a lot of people are always talking about
come back to the mic.
It's hard work. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
It's hard work. It's hard work, and I tell people all the time, it's not hard work. It's just work. It's hard to stay the way you are. It's not easy to get up every day and be depressed, or it's not easy. It's not easy to live the life.
Change is uncomfortable.
I've
always said that. Change is uncomfortable,
but it's inevitable. Right. Everything around you is changing. But I'm gonna say this:
growth is uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable when you go resist it. You think it's uncomfortable for the grass to come up out the ground? No. It's when you fight against it that makes it hard. But when you go with the flow, when things pop up and you start making slow adjustments, I think a lot of issues come when you try to do it overnight. It's a process. Absolutely. It was a process for the grass to become the grass.
Absolutely.
It's a process. And when you go against the process, it's uncomfortable. But when you say, you know what, I'm gonna go through this no matter what,
And that right there, that whole ideology right there can be transferred into a lot of different things. Like, the problem with the generation now is they want everything to be comfortable
and instant. What you talking about? Right. This is the microwave generation.
They want everything to be comfortable. They don't ever want to have conflict. And to me, that sensitivity right there breeds disaster.
That's true.
Take, for example, if I have my son, he's 7, 8 years old. He go to school. Kid smacks him. He don't know what to do.
Right.
All right. Come home crying, this, that, and other. I say nothing happens. He's 10-year-old. Kid punches him in the face. He don't know what to do. Come home crying. The same process continues till he's about 15, 16 years old. Eventually, you're going to get tired of getting smacked. He never learned how to deal with it. He never learned how to face the problem with equal force.
Right.
So he might run to a gun.
Wow.
He might go kill himself.
Right.
Just because they too damn sensitive, man.
I agree. We are raising a lot of jellybacks. Like, seriously.
Pussified.
And it's sad, though. It's so sad. But you know one thing's for certain, too, for sure. Life has a way of beating you up, and you're going to either fight back or you just going to die.
Right.
I mean, and it's not like something you have to ask for. Life comes and knocks on everybody's door. Right. Everybody's door.
Right.
And you just don't know what kind of force. Some of it, sometimes life knocks. Sometimes life is like the feds. They kicking it down. What you going to do?
Right. Right.
So, yeah,
that's true.
I agree. I totally agree.
Man. And like, I've been through some really, really tough situations in my life, and a lot of shit I've never talked about. A lot of shit I just don't even dive into. But I wouldn't be shit without those situations. I be thinking sometimes, like, man, I'm so glad I went through this. I'm so glad I went through that.
Right.
I would be somebody I hated.
You think?
Hell yeah. I would be somebody that right now I hate.
Wow.
Like, just somebody that just too oblivious to what's going on around them.
But you know what's crazy to me? That it takes adversity, it takes setbacks, it takes pain, and it takes just being beat up to make you wake up sometimes. And that's what's crazy. Why couldn't I just be alert and aware without all the, the hurt and the pain? But that, man, pain will produce some stuff.
Right. There's certain things that, I always say there's good scars and there's bad scars. Like, some scars are good where it's just like, damn, I learned a hell of a lesson from this motherfucker. Like, damn, I won't do that again. But then there's certain shit that changes your life forever. You know all about that.
Like, definitely.
Now, you probably a better person because of it. But at the time, I could tell that broke something in you for a minute.
Heck yeah. I'm going to say this. I mean, even dealing with scars. I mean, I'm a person that dealt with keloid scars. And keloid scars are scars that...
literally. Okay.
Like you have to break it down sometimes for people.
Right.
Like, it's something that... It started the healing process, but it starts to heal outside of the boundaries where the scar happens. We have a lot of people that the initial thing may have been you went through... and I don't mean to say it, so lightly, that you may have been a person that was bullied on, or you may have been a person that a man always cheated on you. And next thing you know, here you are, you run around, you cheating, you like women, you like men, you just going. That's to me, that's a keloid scar where the initial impact has outgrown where it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
real.
It's unsightly. So we got a lot of people that's dealing with different kinds of scars. And I think it's funny you say that. I've studied scars because I dealt with some, So, yeah, most definitely.
We might as well dive into that. I remember when I got the call about what happened to you. And I was living in Boston at the time. I was actually in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I was waiting for the bus. And I got the call from my auntie. And I was so motherfucking furious, though. Like, I remember we had just left the Baltimore Ravens game where I was working. And I came back. I was just like, what the fuck? Tell me you lying. Tell me. But still, I didn't see the pictures. I didn't know. I didn't see it. Right. So at the same time, I'm just thinking like, what the fuck happened? Even then, but when I saw the pictures, man, I started just tearing up. Like, who the fuck would do some shit like this? I wanted to kill that motherfucker.
I'm gonna say this: you never know what. Like I said, you never know how life is gonna come and knock on your door. Like I said, some of the times life knocks. Sometimes it come in like the feds and kick them down. Like with me, I mean, I'll never forget this young lady told me, she said, you lived a sheltered life. And I was thinking, did I live a sheltered life? Everything, I'm gonna say this, my story, like I just told you in the beginning of this, I hung around. My mom had me when she was 17 years old. Statistically, I'm not supposed to be doing anything that I'm doing. I'm supposed to have multiple children. I was not supposed to go to school. I wasn't supposed to do anything because I came from...
Your mama's incredible, man.
Big ups to my mom.
Yes, she is.
But I wasn't supposed to be here like this. But I was raised with my mother's mother and her mother. So I had my great-grandmother and my grandmother. And my great-great-grandmother. I was around all the time. And I was reared in the church. And it's just certain things that, growing up, I feel like if you lived your life a certain kind of way, you ain't have to worry about stuff. And I got the shock of my life, but nevertheless, life came and knocked on my door. I'm not going to say it knocked, it kicked down my door. And, here I am today, trying to figure out, how did this happen to me? Like, why did this happen to me? But when it's starting out, I mean, I would have never dreamt in my wildest dreams that it could have happened to me.
Let's dive into that a little bit. I'm gonna just tell y'all, like, Keyairra was attacked and burned by this guy years and years ago, and she was burned on her face, her back, to your chest, right?
80% of my face was burned. I was stabbed.
Both sides of her face.
Yeah, I wasn't just burned. I was stabbed as well. So
that too. And it just, for somebody that's so sweet and so nice, man, it couldn't have happened to a worse person. Yeah, couldn't happen to anybody that's worse. Nobody's wishing that on anybody, but man, just to think that somebody can do some shit like that, man, I can't even fathom doing no shit like that. I couldn't even fathom doing that to my enemy unless they did something really bad to a family member.
Right.
So to be that fucking nuts and out of your mind, what happened? How did you meet this guy?
Actually, I met him when I was in undergrad. I was working at JCPenney's. I got a job at JCPenney's right after Hurricane Katrina. I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. During the time of Hurricane Katrina, I think it happened in August, and I got a job that October. And he worked loss prevention. And it's so funny because me and my
police ass nigga.
Me and my friends would like laugh at him because he had such a bad attitude. And we'd be laughing like, "Oh, I guess he on his period today." Like, ha ha ha.
Oh
ha, ha.
Shit!
Like he was just so like weird. Like I mean, like just really strange. But as time went on, everybody at work knew, and anybody that know me right now know I like cake. I love cake. Birthday cake.
Gotcha.
And if I couldn't get no birthday cake, I wanted some cookies. And I guess this was his way of being my friend. One day I was working and I didn't have time to go to the food court to get my cookies. And he came and he said, "You ain't eat no cookies today?" And I looked at him. I'm like, "No, I ain't have time." He said, "I got you some cookies." And I looked at him like, "For real?" He was like, "Yeah." And that's how it started. He seemed as time went on, he seemed like he was a cool dude. We became friends. I found out we used to have great conversations, like, oh my God, like deep conversations. Like I said, I was raised in the church. His father was a pastor. His mother was a minister. So I'm thinking this is a good dude. Like, oh my goodness, he cool people.
And I used to tell you, like, stop going for them goody two shoes ass niggas. They always got some under their sleeve. I used to always be telling her that, like, man, them niggas got some under their sleeve. They not telling the truth.
Yeah, that's what he said. But you know what?
Well, go ahead.
Time went on, like, woo. But anyway, so he and I, that was October of 2000 and, shucks. I guess it was 2006. Oh, my lamb. So,
it wasn't that long ago. I was 7, I think. 7 or 8.
Well, as time went on, me and him, we talked or whatever, and I was preparing. I graduated that December, and I will never forget. He came to my graduation for college. We started talking, and we used to have just a really good time. Like, he was a cool dude. He came to my graduation, and I was preparing to move back to Memphis with my parents. And he stopped by my house or whatever, and I was packing my stuff or whatever. And he met my mother and my family, and I'll never forget. My mom was just like, yeah, you can come to Memphis anytime. I really thought after I left from down there that was going to be it, but he ended up coming to visit me for Christmas. He spent like part of the day of Christmas with his family, and then he drove to Memphis to spend the rest of Christmas with me and my family. So he seemed to be a good guy. We had a long distance relationship.
Right, so y'all dating at this point.
So, after I graduated, I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was still in Baton Rouge. But we would come and visit each other. And that's how our relationship was for a while. And then I believe it was April, maybe May. I'm not really sure. I had applied for law school. And I got the letter in the mail, and it said that I had got accepted to Southern University's law school. And anybody that knows me, that's all I ever wanted to do. I wanted to be an attorney. I graduated high school in 3 years. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 3 years just to get to law school. So this was like a dream come true. And I remember getting a letter, calling them and telling them I, had got accepted. But in the meantime, stuff started to be kind of shaky. Like, he would always tell me that I was his wife. And me being, back then, I was outspoken. Anybody know me, I say whatever. People used to say I was mean. And they still say I'm mean. Yeah, but I'm not. I just am who I am.
I'm kidding.
He just used to say that all the time. And I'd be like, one day I just got tired of it. Like, I said, you always saying I'm your wife, but how do you know that? Because I don't know that. And you would have thought I said, I don't know, what's something horrible you could say to somebody, and just like, your breath smells like crap, and you need to brush your teeth, and your mama look like Freddy Cool. I mean, like some evil stuff.
Right.
And when I tell you, that was when, it was crazy. It was just like, why are you saying this? You're acting like a bitch. And that was my first sign. Like, this Negro is crazy. He which crazy. I'm young. I'm still like, whatever. I don't know this. And I remember talking to one of my friends, and I was telling her what happened. She was like, girl, well, I knew he was crazy when we used to work with him. You need to leave. Don't even talk to him no more. And I'm just like, I was naive, and I just was just like, oh my gosh. So he and I ended up going to Dallas, Texas together after he did all this stuff to me. We went to Dallas, Texas together, and while we was there, I remember we went out to eat, and he was just making like little comments. It was like he was trying to tear me down. I'm telling this parts of the story because a lot of times with domestic violence, that's how it starts. When they like to control. He wanted to control what I was eating. Why are you eating that? Why you have fried chicken instead of baked chicken? Just different stuff. You got to watch your weight. It would be times where it was crazy. Like, but me being young, I'm still not looking at it like this man is trying to control me.
To play devil's advocate with that a little bit, there's dudes, I've been one of those dudes that like really pay attention to detail with somebody that I like. You know what I'm saying? Not monitoring what they eat or whatever, but like really being overprotective. I've done that before, and I had to check myself. But it wasn't like being crazy. I would never do nothing crazy.
It was like he wasn't saying nothing until after I told him I didn't know.
Okay. So it was not.
It was like bad. It was so bad to the fact where we was out to eat with my aunt, and she was like, me and him had rolled in the car together. She was like, I want you to ride with me. Let him, take the kids. And she was just like, why is he so obsessed about what you're eating? I don't like that.
Oh, see that? I never did that. No.
It came out the blue, and it was like he was trying to tear me down. So
I was that dude that was like, not to cut you off, but I was that dude that was like, Like, damn, why you always got weave in your hair? You got real hair. Wear your real hair.
Yeah,
you look good without that shit. That's how I was. I wasn't like that. No. So.
But it didn't happen until I told him I didn't know that I was his wife or whatever. So, I mean, we had that discussion, and after I got back, I just was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And I told him, like, I mean, I can't do this. I can't do this with you. He would say little stuff I never forget. He told me, I can't help it because I'm not in a fraternity and I didn't graduate from college and all this stuff. I started to realize he was insecure and he couldn't handle where I was going. So it was best that I left him alone.
Okay, gotcha.
So after we got back from the trip, I ended up breaking up with him. And like I said, he knew that was like in May or something like that. I went to school in August. And before I will never forget, I stopped talking to him, and after blue, he called me and he was like, that's you been calling me and not saying nothing on the phone. And I remember telling my mom, she's like, girl, he know that you ain't calling him. He just wanted to call and hear your voice. And I'm just like, why would he do that? And at the time,
you said how lame as it was.
Well, he was, and that's what he did. So I told my mom what was going on. He ended up calling me around the time it was time for me to prepare to go to law school, and I was going back to Baton Rouge. And when he called me, we just, and he asked me that question, we kind of start, being friends, if you will. Right. And he was telling me how, proud of me he was, and he was excited that, you're getting to really follow your dreams or whatever. That's so cool. I moved down there, and after I got there, me and him, anybody that's been in law school, anybody been in school, period, law school is like what they told me college was going to be. I mean, I stayed around my study group. It was one of those, it was just really stressful. But when I had free time, I would be around him. And one year I'm telling them, I don't want to be with you, but I'm always hanging out with you. I think that was giving him false hope or whatever. Right. So as the semester went on, I guess it was in November. I never forget. He called me and he told me that his parents had put him out. And at the time, I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. And I didn't want to see nobody out. This is my friend. You can come stay with me. You can come stay. So in the midst of him coming to stay at my house, he hacked into my email. And in the email, he saw, this was MySpace time. He saw an email that I had going back and forth with this guy. And I don't know. I mean, he went like...
It was the same night?
Like a couple nights, because it had to be like, he stayed at my house like 2 days before I just got up and just like, you had to go. So maybe 2 or 3 nights, maybe it was. Right. Man, so it was like he just went like, you don't know this guy, and I don't want to see you get hurt by him, and he's not right. Now, mind you, the man lived in Memphis, Tennessee. You from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You don't know this man, so how do you know what he's going to do or if he's right and all this different stuff?
It doesn't matter who it was. He was going to be jealous. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm still not, I was blonde, and I'm blonde at heart, but I'm just like, this is crazy.
I've never heard that, blonde at heart.
I truly am. Like, some things I'm very dingy, and it's just like, you don't know him, and you're going to get hurt, and I don't want to see you get hurt. And we went back and forth for a couple of days about this, and I'll never forget. This man is crazy. But the guy I was emailing back and forth had a concert down in Louisiana. He was coming. I was going to the concert that weekend, and one of my friends, she was gonna go with me, and it was just like we was going back and forth. I will never forget. On December 1st, I went before I went to study for my law school exams. I told him, you know what, you gonna have to go because I can't keep going back and forth with you. When I come back from studying, you need to have your stuff. You need to be gone. So I went to study for my law school exams, and I never forget one of my study partners. He, I was going in my car, and I guess I looked like I was like really bothered by the situation. And the guy was like, "Moore," that's what they used to call me. "Moore, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right. Just keep me in your prayers." And it's so funny, like that whole week, like different people was calling me to encourage me just out the blue. My aunt called me out the blue, and she was just like, "Hey, blessed child of God, how you doing?" And it was so odd for her to call me. She was one of my older aunts. I couldn't believe she called me. And just one of the ministers from my church, he was checking on me all that week, just checking to make sure I was okay. make a long story short, when I get back to my apartment, I'm like, did you find yourself? Did you find yourself somewhere to go? And he was like, yeah. He was just like, I want to pray with you. I mean, I'm sorry for going through your email, and I just really don't want to see you get hurt. In the midst of him, before we got to praying, my friend called me and was just like, I'm on my way to your house, but I'm going to stop at the gas station. I said, okay, cool. Me and him pray, and I help him get his stuff, and he left. It was a habit of mine, and I don't know why, but I would always plug up the iron before I got in the shower. Like, it took 20 hours for an iron to heat up or something. That was just something I did. I plugged it up.
Right.
I hopped in the shower. I left my door open because my friend was next door getting some gas in her car. So I hopped in the shower. When I got out, he was sitting on my bed. And all I could think, and I remember saying something to him. And I said, you're not my husband. And he rushed me like a football player. And he took the iron and sat it on the right side of my face. And instantly, the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. All these things, it's like inside of me, I started to encourage myself. And anything you would tell a person to try to deter them from hurting you, I said it, okay, I won't go to the concert. I love you. This is me. I did all of that. It did not stop him.
Wow.
I'm in the bedroom. This is where the attack started. Like, I mean, just going back and forth with him. And I tried to run out of my bedroom. And he pulled me back. I mean, it was just like I don't know how long we tussled in there. Some kind of way I was able, he drugged me from my bedroom down the hall. And at the end of the hall, I had a table with a lamp on there. And I took the lamp off the table in hopes of, kind of getting him off of him. It didn't stop him. He drugged me from my living room through my dining room into my kitchen. And he had me down, like, I don't even know how to explain that. I was down under him, and he pulled out the drawer. And it was just like, at that point, I just was like, I'm finna die. Like, I just knew I was about to die. I'm like, it's over. I mean, like, I started to ask God to forgive me for my sins. Because like I said, I'm a church girl. At the end of the day, I know where my help comes from. So I began to pray, and it kind of, throw him off. But it didn't stop him from taking the knife and going across my neck. But at that point, I'm still praying. And I tell anybody that's listening, God is real at the end of the day. I don't know what nobody else's experience is, but I just started to pray. And I was in that mode of, I was just praying. And I don't even know. When he took the knife across my neck, I was still praying. And it kind of startled him a little bit. He took one of the Juicy Juice can off my table and hit me off my counter and hit me on my head. Anybody that's ever seen me or know me, I got a big head. But I brought that up for a reason. I got a big head. But I'm still, praying at that point. I was able to get up off of the floor, through my dining room, to my front door. And I had to unlock it. Mind you, I told y'all, I left the door unlocked waiting on my friend. Before I can get outside the door, he took one of my dining room chairs and hit me on the back of my head. When I got out there, there was nobody. I mean, nobody was around. And this man mysteriously came out of nowhere and he said, do you need some help? Mind you all, I had just got out the shower. So that means I didn't have on any clothes. I had blood everywhere. And all I could think in myself, like, sir, are you serious? Like, I'm bleeding everywhere. Do I need help? And, people start coming out of nowhere and they was just like, ma'am, we need to get you some help. And they was like, they wanted to call my mother. And I remember getting on the phone with my mom and I was breathing really heavily. And I was telling her that, I said, she was like, what's going on? I said, all I can tell you is he got me. He got me. He got me. And she said, what you mean he got me? I said, all I can tell you is he's alive. My cousin at the time lived in the same complex as me. So the people went and got her and she was hollering and crying. My friend finally pulled up. And about time she pulled up from the gas station, ambulance was there to pick me up. But it was so crazy because when I made it out, anybody that's familiar with the Bible where Job said, naked I came into the world, naked I will leave, I can honestly say the old Keyairra died that day. And a new one who's sitting before you today came forth when I came out that door. The man ended up running for 6 days. They had my story on America's Most Wanted.com for a long time. They didn't get to air the story because he actually turned himself in at the church. Isn't that convenient? But it was unbelievable. And I made the point in the story. I will never forget. I told my friend at the time, I was telling her what was going on, and she said, do you want me to call Pam and tell her, what's going on? And I was like, no. And she told me, she texted me during the middle of the night going into December 1st, pray for a way of escape. I didn't know less than 24 hours later, I was going to be looking at my doors trying to figure out how I was going to get out. Everything, like, I can honestly say, even through what I went through, God prepared me, because, like I said, people have been calling me that week, encouraging me, praying for me. I mean, he sent my friend at the time to tell me to pray for a way of escape. I prayed for that. And not just that, he gave me a big head when I was born. And some people might think I'm crazy for saying that. Had I not had the head that I have, I don't know, the way he was hitting me, most people with a normal head probably would be dead. So people that looking at themselves in the mirror and questioning, why is my nose like this? Why is my eyes like this? Everything on your body is on purpose. You don't know when you're going to realize that, or when you're going to say, man, had I not had this particular attribute about myself, or had I not been the person to run around with the camera, where would I have been? I'm just bringing it all into perspective. You never know why you do the things that you do, or why you have what you have, or why that father wasn't there, why that mother wasn't there. You never know, but it all still comes together to work for your good. And I look at my story and realize, my father, violence. My father was killed when I was 7 years old. I was blessed to have a good stepfather, and it's like my father now. But at the end of the day, I look at it, I lost my father when I was 7 years old. He died when he was 25 years old, leaving young children out here. All these different things, but God knew he sent people into my life because he knew I was going to go through that. I had a cousin when I was 13 years old. She was shot and killed by her boyfriend. And I will never forget being at her funeral. My mother was howling and crying. And we got in the car and we was talking about, she said, it dawned on me that your child can get a hold to a fool and be gone. And you never know. Not knowing less than 6 years later, I will be faced with some of the same things. You know what I'm saying? So
he could have killed you too.
That was the intent. And people, I say this all the time, the laws, that's why my goal is to write some type of legislation, some kind of petition. People don't know as victims. That's why a lot of times victims don't come forward. They make you feel like you the person that committed the crime. The way they handled me in the beginning of the case. The
cops.
Oh my goodness. It was horrible.
That's just how police are. Like, if they don't understand the intent, or like, it doesn't register to them that people might just be fucked up. Or somebody might just be flat out innocent.
That's true. That's
definitely I had a situation that was pretty traumatic, and it involved me getting robbed and kidnapped at gunpoint in Florida.
Wow.
But it's like if I didn't have my instinct and I wasn't who I was, I would probably be dead.
That's it.
My instinct told me, as soon as this car is coming up on the side of this road, you just hit them and run.
Wow.
And that's what I did, and I just laid in the ditch.
Wow.
Had no shoes on, none of that. But never mind. I'll tell that story another time.
But that's real. That's real. My instinct.
Right.
My instinct.
Who you are, man.
It was, that's what I'm saying. We've been talking about, throughout this podcast, like today, this generation and your identity, knowing who you are, and just knowing your lane that you're supposed to be in, and embracing who you are, all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. Nothing, like I say, is for naught. Nothing you have is for naught. You got the mama you got for a reason. You got the daddy you got for a reason. You got the family that you in that you might think is dysfunctional, but everything in your life is for a reason. Nothing happens for naught. And we may not like it, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't be who you are without them. Right. Something in you has a part of them inside of you. And you might not like to think about it that way, but it happens that way. But at the end of the day, in that situation, the police were just very heartless to me. They didn't start to really come under my wing until they realized I was one of them. And that's how they handled it. My professor, and I'm big ups to her. Her name is Professor Michelle Getty. She was my criminal law professor. She came and she helped me so much. Oh my goodness. She actually has, she went through a domestic violence situation. It's so crazy because throughout the semester, she, told us her story, not knowing at the end of the semester, I was going to need this woman's help. And thanks to her and just, a lot of, the people that rallied my law school and just my family and my friends, made the difference. But once they realized I wasn't a typical black girl, they handled me totally different. But in the beginning, they came in like I was just some other chick that got beat up by her boyfriend, and she'll be back with him next week. That's what the doctor told my mother. Like, oh, I hope she don't go back, but most of them do. And she said, you don't know her. And he was like, I see these cases all the time, baby. They be burnt up, stabbed, and they go back.
It's fucked up, but that does happen. Like, it's fucked up for them to treat you that way. Yeah. But if they see it, they so traumatized by it, it's just nothing to them. Like,
and that's what I want people to know. Whatever you're doing, don't ever become so day-to-day mundane with it that you lose your heart, that you lose your sympathy, that you lose empathy, period. Because you never know who you dealing with. Just imagine had people I think that's what happened. People they generalize people and they put us all in one big boat and feel like all of us are the same. That's not true. That is so not true. So through it all, I've learned, like I said, I'm not the same person that I was before this happened. I've gone through identity crisis. Like, who am I now? I was in law school. That's all I ever wanted to do is be an attorney. I've had a major setback. It's been 10 years. I lived in fear for a long time. I was not able to go to open doors. I will never forget. People would knock on the door. I would walk past the door and I would go find my stepfather and I would stand behind him like a little bit girl.
Wow.
For him to answer the door. Anybody that I couldn't go to bed like some people go to bed and leave their doors open in their bedroom. Not me. I'm gonna check my doors 3 different times. My bedroom door gonna be locked. It's just a lot of stuff. I've evolved, but I lost some things. So here I am, 10 years later, trying to find my way back. You go through the identity crisis.
You way stronger. I see it though.
You think I'm stronger?
Hell yeah. Like, you used to not be able to talk about this shit without
crying. Right. I'm stronger in that regard.
Stronger. And you know, I'm just curious as to how it's affected your dating from now on. Like,
I don't know. I think I'm gonna say that it did. At first, I didn't think it did because I was just like, I'm just not ready. And then I started talking with someone, and as the relationship has gone or went on, if you will, like I said, a lot of times you don't know things are broken until you go to use them. And
that's dope.
I realized then I'm broke and I got to go get some help. I started, and I tell anybody as Black people, we don't really believe in going to get counseling. There's so many people that's running around here not taking medicine, but not taking their medicine. There's some people that's mentally ill, and you don't think you need your pills, and you do. It's real. So I tell people all the time, it's not, don't be aware of the people that's taking their pills. Be aware of the people that's not on medication. So, I went to therapy. I'm in therapy right now. It got me to a point where I had to go face my fears. So I'm going through, I got double therapy. I have my private therapist, and then I have a therapy that I am preparing myself to actually face my attacker.
Hold on 1 second. How do you feel towards him? Honestly.
I don't know.
Do you hate him?
No.
Shit.
I don't know. And
I do. Fuck him till he die, and everybody that love him. Straight up.
I don't know. I'm gonna say this. In the beginning, I was confused. I remember laying in the hospital crying, saying, why did he do this to me? I remember just crying and crying and crying, trying to figure out in my mind, rationalize, why did he do this to me? And then it went to, why did he do this to me? And then it went, I thought he snapped for a long time because he was on a run. We didn't know he was on a run for like 6 days. So my family, everybody was just on like lockdown. My family, And then the guy that he had hacked into my email and seen that, I mean, he was on lockdown. Everybody was just like, where's this dude at? So it was first, it was more of a, why did he do this? And then it was like, did he snap? And then when I realized he meant to do everything he did to me, I'm still in shock. Because nothing in my...
It was premeditated. The fool left and then he came back. He thought about it.
Well, this is what's so funny about it. It's funny you saying that because when they went back through the scenes, they found knives or whatever, but they weren't my knives.
See?
Come to find out, he brought a knife from his parents' house. So when he called and told me that his parents had put him out, it was I don't know if he had plans to kill me then or what it was. You see what I'm saying? Because it was like when he called me and told me his mom had put him out, he hadn't hacked into my email yet. So I don't know if he was getting to a point where I don't know where his mind was. And it's just like I'm at
fucked up, man. You don't turn that type of crazy overnight. Like,
no, most definitely.
Fucked up, man.
I was not the first woman. I wasn't the second woman. I was the third woman that this man had assaulted. He didn't get to do to them what he did to me.
Don't even call him no man. He ain't no fucking man.
Well, he's a hurt individual. But at the end of the day, and then that's the point I want to make, and that's what my goal is. One person dropped the ball. You never know who the ball is gonna roll to. Had those women handled that in the front end, it would have never been to me. And I had to go through the process of going through courts and writing letters to the judges and things of that nature, so the next woman wouldn't have to experience what I experienced. I don't know, had he attacked another woman, she would have lived to tell the story. She would have lived. I'm thankful that I was in the community, the legal community that I was in, because I wasn't. Once they figured out I was one of them, they didn't handle me like a typical black girl or a typical girl that's domestic violence. They took the case a little more serious. And I felt like once they realized, they handled it like you hurt one of our own, so gave a voice to it. So I mean, like I keep saying, nothing in your life is by accident. I'm thankful I was in law school. I'm thankful I was connected to the people I was connected to. I mean, some of the stuff that like transpired has been like really crazy, but I'm preparing myself to go and have a conversation with him because I've lived life a little bit. I've been hurt. I'm never going to give him a pass for attacking me, but I understand that everybody has heard that quote, hurt people. That's real. He was one of those persons that he was really deeply hurt. I've had my heart broken. The difference between me and him having our hearts broken, I don't have a mental illness. So when you break my heart and when you lie to me and you don't want to be with me and you reject me, I'm going to go through the process of grief, but I ain't going to go crazy. That's the difference. And you just never know if this person is mentally ill or if they're going to go through the grief process like normal people. You just never know. So that's just what, you have to go through. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. See, you way better than me. Like, you dope. Because, that's a good thing that you able to look at it that way. Like, he was hurt and all that shit.
I know he was hurt and I know he's sick.
Right.
I do know that. I do know.
Man, look.
But I still, even going to see him, people ask me, do you want to know why? I don't see him giving me an answer as to why. You can't make sense out of foolishness. You
want an apology?
I don't want an apology.
Okay.
He'll never have to apologize. This is what's so sick and twisted about it. When we were going through court, he made a comment. He said he was sorry it had to happen to me. And at the time,
he said that?
He said, I'm sorry that had to happen.
That bitch deserved to die for just saying that, man.
It was
sorry it had to happen. Bitch ass nigga. Man, I hope they gut him like a fish. He's still locked up?
Yeah. He's still.
When he get out?
I don't know. He got 15 years. So
me not telling myself.
So we got like 5 more years.
Niggas like that, man, let me tell you something. He deserved. See, to me, this is what's wrong with the world, man. Everybody too damn sensitive. Motherfuckers like that, obviously he had no remorse.
No.
He had intent. It was premeditated. All of that. Like, and to do some shit like that, bruh. How do you even let him out? Like, but you got motherfuckers out here doing more time for selling crack. Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But you know what the difference is? The government didn't get their cut off the. That's what that is.
Man,
you dying. That's population control, right?
Right.
You selling drugs and not giving our tax cut. You cutting into our what money?
Right.
So let's be real. Let's be.
That type of shit. Honest. Every time you talk about this shit, I get pissed off, man. I just be thinking like, and motherfuckers need to get to this dude, man. Like that's the only way of dealing with it. Fuck all of that, let it go shit. What if he come back after he get out?
I've thought about that.
You know what I'm saying? Like what if he do this to somebody else?
I don't know.
Like you don't just jump off the deep end like that, then go on a run, turn yourself in and all this fuck shit just to go change. Nah, bro.
I thought about all of that. But that's why I'm going to face him, because I'm tired. I've lived 10 years in fear. And I had to be honest with myself. He was a coward. I was a woman. Absolutely. He could have slapped me. Anything. But for you, for him to wait until I got in the shower or pretend like he was leaving or did leave, come back, sit on my bed, wait on me as a woman to get outside of my shower and to attack me like I was a man, you was a coward. Heads up.
Absolutely.
When we were heads up, he didn't do anything. When we could fight, and he's a man, he could have whooped me. That let me know he's really a coward. So at the end of the day, I'm facing him to let him know he didn't win. I've forgiven him. And you don't forgive people for them. I'm forgiving them for my sake. It's power in my story. It's for another woman that's still in her position of, I don't know if I should leave this man, if I should stay, or that man is in the situation. I'm finna go in here and snap and I'm gonna blow everybody up. I'm going to let people know I'm facing this man because it's so many women that die and never get the opportunity.
Right.
Never get my cousin will never have an opportunity to face the man that killed her. Never have that opportunity. I don't care if he never tells me why. It's about me and what I have to say to him. So I'm switching the tables on him. For 10 years, you've had power over me. And that's what domestic violence is, about power and control. I'm taking back the power and the control. We're meeting because I initiated it. So
you think
for me.
You think that's going to be progression for you? Or do you think that might dial you back a little bit?
No, I know it's going to be. Because, I prayed. It took 10 years to get to this point. I prayed about it. I'm a firm believer if it wasn't meant for it to be happening at this point, it wouldn't happen. Right. I've come a long way, but I had to start going through therapy, being in a relationship and it breaking down and me realizing it's still some residue on me from what happened to me. And I don't want that to have that kind of control over me. I remember being attacked and praying and saying, I knew I was broken. And telling God, I'm getting older. I didn't want my children to meet me in the condition that I was in. So I have to, as CC saying, level up. It's time to level up and do what I have to do. Because there's somebody behind me. It's not about me, but what's coming behind me. And it's a 35-year-old me that's waiting on to be that fabulous woman. And I got to get there. So I can't really, I don't think I'm going to digress at all. Even going through the therapy, there's some stuff that I've learned through the therapy that with the facilitators that we'll have during our conversation, and some things that he's told them has made me say, when he heard that I wanted to have the dialogue with him, he made the comment to them that that's something he had been hoping and praying for. Just different things like, I made a comment to them. I said, if he never admits it or not, I did us both a favor by staying alive. And they both like stopped and looked at each other.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I was like, why y'all looking like that? They were like, well, we weren't going to tell you this until the next time. But he made a comment. He said he knows that you saved both of your lives, because had he killed you, he would have killed himself or somebody would have killed him. So he's thankful that you're alive. He said that he was, really having a hard time kind of understanding or matching up to the fact that he actually did this. Like, he feels in his heart that he snapped, that it was a snapping situation. Just a lot of different things that I'm learning through the process. And I'm not expecting him to apologize to me. I'm going in trying to give something. And usually when you come in with that kind of attitude, what you can give, you probably will get something.
So do you think he's changed? You think prison changed him?
Stay tuned. We'll find out. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
because but let's look at it. Meeting him, prior to me, it was 2 other women you had beat up. You had a domestic violence issue. When women reject you, you want to beat them down. So only way to find out is for him to be put in a situation to be rejected.
Yeah. See, that to me, that's 3 strikes. Like, if you giving 3 strikes out for motherfuckers doing shit like selling a little dope here and there, give them a 3 strike for that.
But that's the point. With this situation, okay, you have the first situation, you fight me, you black my eye. Your parents come with a check. My eye gonna heal.
Hold on, that's the first girl?
I'm just giving you an example.
That was you?
No.
Oh, I'm about to say, what the fuck?
Check this out. So, your eye gonna heal. He beat them up. He just beat them up.
Oh, these just hypothetical.
No, he beat these women up.
Oh, that happened. Okay.
They didn't go to court. They didn't go through with the proceedings.
Gotcha.
And I'll never forget, my cousin was dating this guy at the time. He said, I guarantee you, his parents come with a check. And then we was all looking at him like he was crazy. Like, why would they come with a check? Kid you not. Martin Luther King's Day, 2008. They drove from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Memphis, Tennessee. Guess what they left? A check. Now just imagine somebody. No? They couldn't pay me.
Right.
To not go to court.
I'm just wondering how much you turned down.
I didn't turn it down. I took it. I called it. I took it. Because at the end of the day, I did have a what they call a.
Fuck is wrong with people with money, man? That's why.
But that's what happened. They pay. I think because it was so crazy to me because the whole time they were there, they kept talking about because I had a restraining order against him, and in a restraining order, he was ordered to pay all of my medical bills, and his father just kept saying, "I don't know how he's gonna pay these bills that the court is causing him to bill, and he's facing all this time. I just
so
don't know."
He got out.
He got out on bond. He did.
Oh,
he got out.
Damn,
on bond.
Louisiana, motherfucker, ain't they?
He got out on bond. But what was so crazy, I never forget. His father called me, and I mean, now mind you, I got attacked December 1st. His father called me maybe February. They may have gotten him out on watch, and he said he was just calling me to make certain that I wasn't still fearful of his son, because if I was still fearful of him, he wasn't gonna bail him out. I said, well, sir, you a praying man. I'm never going to tell you to get your son out or not to get your son out. So whatever decision you make, that's going to be on you. Who would call a victim after your son has traumatized and tried to kill me and ask anyone, are you still afraid of him? You should be afraid of him.
Right.
Like.
But that's just.
Who does that, Cobra?
That's just fucked up parents. That's what they do. Not many parents that still go to court and be behind their kid when they do heinous shit. Like, I've seen parents take up for their kid when they know their kid done fucking touch somebody's baby.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I done seen parents show up and act like their kid the most innocent thing in the world, knowing damn well he a killer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just fucked up parents. They're afraid to sleep around their own front door. I don't do that with my son.
So if your son, I'm not even gonna say your son, hypothetically, if you had a cat and your cat go to court and your cat did some stuff that's wrong. If my son go to court and he do something wrong, you gotta stand behind him. Nah, it's a way to support somebody and not support what they've done.
No, it ain't.
So do you believe?
Look, I think it might be because I'm a male, but I really think that you shouldn't just because you love somebody that you should condone their bullshit.
You think standing behind them is
condoning it? It's condoning, because even if you offer any little bit of comfort for them, that's condoning. Oh, like, wow. I remember going to jail. I remember going to jail for some shit that I did. Mama wouldn't bomb me out, and I was like, I didn't understand at the time, but then after a while, I'm like, okay, I get it. She wanted me to know what that felt like. Wow. What it really feel like to not have nobody. Right. That shit builds character, man. That shit changes people. Wow. And she probably kept me out of prison. Wow. So I would never be that way with my son. It might be hard, but if I know for a fact my son dead ass wrong, like my son went and raped somebody or did something fucked up, I'll be like, I'll probably want to fuck him up myself just because that's who I am as a decent person. But if he, I don't know, made a mistake, like he did something stupid, like stole something, or anything like sold drugs or something. Like, to me, I look at that completely different. You're not really taking nothing from nobody that can't be replaced.
So let's say he gets arrested for it. Would you not bail him out for crimes like that?
For what?
If he got caught,
if he did that, burned up a girl?
No, if he was selling drugs and then he get caught and he go to jail, would you? Because I think the issue was, even in my situation, I remember leaving court for my restraining order, and the father crying and crying and crying, and he was like, "This domestic violence thing just keeps happening." That's when we started initially finding out that it was more to the story. Make a long story short, had they handled it on the front end,
right?
Had they smacked his hand on the front end, it wouldn't have been a me. It wouldn't have been a middle girl.
Right.
So I'm saying to you, would you have smacked your son hand in the beginning of the situation, like, drugs or whatever he may have, encountered?
I don't look at those two as the same, for one. Like, to me, there's no excuse to do that to a woman.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. She want to fight me or something like that, I might smack the shit out of her. But
I would have rather he would have smacked me, because I would have smacked him back.
I'm not going to fucking burn somebody or beat it. Like, because I know I can hurt a woman. You know what I'm saying? But if his motivation is, what he sees, or if I was making, or if what he saw was a bad influence and he's all about the money, then it's like, that's a teachable moment at that point. Nothing you can really teach a motherfucker about doing that shit. Then you got to kind of wash your hands with them and let them figure it out to get it right. Unless they got some real bad mental issues, and then that, at that point, it depends on what you think about mental illnesses. Right. Because some of them, I just think it's just left up to interpretation. Because to me, that's not, come on. Ain't no pill gonna stop you from doing that shit.
I don't know.
No therapy either. I just don't see that. I think something's seriously wrong. It's like take Charles Manson, for example. That's somebody that did something that I can't fathom doing. Right. Just killing all those people. And ain't no psych evaluation gonna set that straight.
You're right.
It ain't even gonna change what you took from somebody or did to somebody.
You're right.
Like your face. Your face may never be the same.
Right.
Let me see the other side. The other side. Why is that side worse than the other one?
That was where he burned me. I think that was the very first
held it longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it went deeper. And then the other ones, like, I don't really know. Like, all the burns, I'm still in shock. Like, how do you burn? How do you take an iron off? How long does it take an iron to cool off, first and foremost, to be able to do all the damage?
Oh, it takes a minute.
I see.
It takes a long time.
I got the scars to prove. But, even after the attack, it took me a minute to, I was still in shock. I thought he snapped. And it was not until he got bonded out that I realized he meant to do everything he did. He would harass me through MySpace. Like, I later found out not only did he hack into my computer, he had hacked into my cell phone. He put on MySpace that he had hacked into my cell phone one night, and my code was 0707. He let me know this was deeper than what I thought. And I was like, this was sick.
Right.
It was sick. And then he told his family that me and him used to fight and I was abusive. And I was thinking, they really believe this stuff. Like, it was so amazing to me that, like, how am I fighting you? I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and you live in Baton Rouge. So we coming to see each other so I can beat you up? Like,
that goes back to what I've said before about parenting. Like, you can't always run to your kid's rescue. That's going to be their downfall.
Well, that was his mother. And it's just like, she was so angry once he got the 15 years. She said it was my fault that he got the 15 years because had I not wrote the letter that I wrote to the judge, he was going to get probation.
Louisiana motherfucker.
That's what she thought. Like, I'm thinking, well, the power of my pen is very, very powerful then. I persuaded the judge that way.
I guess the pictures didn't do nothing, huh?
I guess not. And the fact that as I work on different things, he put so much pressure on the iron. It was shattered like glass. There's nothing. I mean, I was left with the plate of the iron. The rest of it was. That's what I'm saying. And for her, at the end of the day, to say it's so much stuff that didn't come out in court because he let us know that she used to fight him. I'm a woman. I am a woman. You were in court. You seen the knives. You seen that the plate. My skin and stuff was still on the plate of the iron. There's no excuse.
Let's be clear, man. I've had conversations about domestic violence up here. I brought up the Ray Rice situation, and the fact that he spit on her, and she spit on him. She was fighting him from bar to bar to bar, and he smacked her. That's not this. All right. This is on a whole nother level right here. This is on some true domestic violence, sickening shit right here. And these are the motherfuckers that need to be locked away and throwing away the key. I'm not against. I always tell people all the time, like, my position when it comes to law enforcement and the whole judicial system is that they spend so much time wasted on frivolous bullshit. Why the fuck wouldn't you focus on situations like this? Why the fuck wouldn't you focus on motherfuckers out here touching babies and taking some from women and beating up women and raping women and all that crazy shit? Why not? Why is your focus on drugs, license plates, music being too loud, dumb shit? You don't take your pussy ass on somewhere and go find something to do, man. That's my position. So don't get on here like they like to get in the comments and saying dumb shit like, oh, you being a hypocrite, you want people to get locked up. People are that stupid. Wow. They can't decide the difference between burning a woman on her face and fucking handing off a little $20 rock. They don't understand the difference. That's how fucked up people are on the internet now.
Wow. At the end of the day, people that take drugs, it can be an illness, don't get me wrong, but it's a choice.
Right. That's a choice.
That's a choice.
I didn't know. If I chose to sell you a gallon of bleach and you drink it, that's on you, motherfucker. I didn't make you do that.
Right.
This dude forced those injuries on you. Like, he forced that psychological, scarring on you.
Yes. It's just... It's ongoing, and I keep saying I have to face them because I can't let them win. Like, my life is, I've been trying to figure my life out ever since. Like, what do I do? Like,
I still think you should do the documentary and probably a book.
You think so?
Yes. Absolutely. Because I was watching this one situation where this lady, she really changed a lot of people's lives. She was fine, like, beautiful, all of that shit. And her husband and her was, not her husband, her fiance at the time, they were planning a wedding. Mm-hmm. And they were just sitting there on the couch, fireplace, talking, going through wedding books. Fine. Everything's cool. He gets up, goes to the kitchen, and she said the next thing she remembered was seeing him on the ground, on the floor, in the living room, with his brains blown out, and she tried to scream and she couldn't scream. He shot her in the face first.
Oh, wow.
And like, her whole face looks like a balled up fist. She has no nose. Her mouth, she only has the bottom of her mouth, and it's like smushed in, man. She has to wear like a prosthetic plate to even look like a nose to fit in there. And that type of shit. That type of shit needs to be on Front Street. People need to talk about that. People need to, tell their story. And I think if you wrote a book and really got people on board to kind of notice the signs and shit like that for a fucking lunatic, it'll do some good.
And it's funny you say that because after you've experienced it, you know it from a mile away. You know it from a mile away. Some women may lie and say he not, and you can look at, I don't care if it's on TV, if you see it, an abuser after you've been abused, him when you see him. Right. It's an energy, it's a vibe that you get, and they may never say a word, but it's something. They walk to a different rhythm. They walk to a different rhythm, and once you've been introduced to that rhythm, you know it when you see it.
and just take that situation right there and look at it like this. Remember I was saying earlier about some people are just idiots. Some shit you just can't see coming. I know people want to think like, oh yeah, everything is just this big wide cul-de-sac where nothing ever happens. But man, there's a real world out there too. And there's lunatics in this real world. And we have to account for them motherfuckers too.
You're right.
So.
You're absolutely right. And I learned that day.
Man, that's crazy. That is nuts. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think we've touched on a lot. Just I just hope like I'm getting ready and prepared in October to getting prepared to face him. That everything that needs to be said is said and it's left there, and I move on. Like I'm just hopeful and prayerful that I get what I need and I get what I need to get off my chest and move on with my life. And I want anybody that's suffering from domestic violence, maybe you may be the abuser, you may be a person that that's being abused. Know that there's help out there. Everybody, some people, I don't want people to take it lightly, because the beginning signs, I never would have dreamt in my wildest dreams that he would do what he did to me. Now the people around me, they may have seen little things, but I still, even when he was attacking me, I mean, people don't know, like people say, you know how people like, have the little cliche, like they see their whole life going before their eyes when they're dying. That is so real. I thought about all that. Things you think about when you think you're dying.
I've been in that situation.
It's real. You think about your family. You think about, what kept me going is, I kept telling myself, I'm 22 years old. I can't die like this. I can't die like this. I made a choice. I couldn't die like that in my mind. But I tell people all the time, had I had a gun, I think he'd have shot and killed me with my own gun. I'm thankful I didn't. And I still I'm still a little apprehensive about arming myself because of that. But nevertheless, I want anybody that's listening or going through it, get help, because it's real. I didn't have any children with him. I wasn't financially bound to him or things of that nature. But even if you are bound to your abuser in those ways, there's help out there. There's help out there. Just be sure to always reach out. I'm trying to find the actual domestic violence hotline number, and just know that you can always call them at 1-800-799-7233. Always be aware that that you can call the domestic. They'll help you. There's people out here that's willing to help. There's different places, homes, and things of that nature. They'll help you get to where you need to go and get you prepared. But my goal in life, and I made the statement where he said it had to happen to me. It gave me a hustle. It gave me a reason to do what I do. I've always wanted to practice law, but it gave me a direction into where the need is. So I'm a firm believer. There was a need on the earth, and God sent me here to handle one of those, and this is what I've been called to do, and I'm going to take it and run with it. But I got to get myself healed before I try to heal other people. So here we go. But just be aware that there's help out there.
It's another step.
Yeah, most definitely.
Another step.
Most definitely.
Man. That got deep. I knew it was going to, though. So
did it get deep?
We've had this conversation before. Every time, man, I just be in my feelings, boy. I be mad.
I'm about to be in mine, but I'm gonna be strong.
Nah, you right.
I'm gonna be strong because I gotta face this thing. But like I said, my life is not the same, and I gotta be okay with it never being the same. But I'm believing and I'm knowing it's gonna be better than it was because I got a purpose,
right?
With an aim. I'm not out here just running without a vision. Now I have a vision, so it had to happen, I guess.
You're so dope for that too. All right. That is this episode's version of the Blacc Room. We out.